Okay. Okay. Let me actually take attendance this time. All right, so you guys can type in the chat. What is the relationship or relationships between those two angles, TCN and NCP? So this one, no. Good, Joey. No, one of them says complementary as a even though you see like the box that there, that wouldn't apply to those two angles because the first one is way bigger. Okay. So what's the relationship or relationships between those two? I want to know the relationship between the two angles. Like you can look at them together as a pair. How do they relate to one another? Two that I highlighted in red. Katerina, great. Isabel, you got one of them. Peyton, you got one of them. You can figure out the other one. Okay, use the words that are on your notes. Like this is what I'm asking. Are they vertical? Are they adjacent? Are they complementary? Are they supplementary? So you got one of them. Use the terms that we talked about. Good. We don't have this diagram. We have a bunch of lines. We don't have any parallels. Back over to the first page because that's the page you're going to look at. No. All right, let's see. Peyton, better, good. Okay, so I think some of us are a little bit confused on what I mean by the relationship between them. So if you recall, for the last 3 days, last week, we were talking about the relationship between two angles, a pair of angles. So if everyone looks at the first page of their notes, that's where you're going to find the answers to this question. There are two relationships, two ways that these two angles relate to one another. What's one of them? What's one of the two ways that these two relate to each other? Molly? They're adjacent. Remember, that means we said they're right next to each other. They share a vertex and they share the ray in common in the middle of the two. So they're adjacent. Okay? In order for angles to be adjacent to each other, or I'm sorry, there has to be two angles. Like I saw some people trying to write down like that angle TCN was vertical and angle NCP was adjacent. That doesn't make any sense because it's talking about how did two angles relate to one another. So it's one relationship between the two angles, okay? You can't say that one angle by itself is vertical. That doesn't make any sense because that's how one angle relates to another one. Okay, so these are adjacent. They're right next to each other. They share a vertex and they share a ray. TCN, NCP. What's the other way they relate to each other? What was the other way? For instance, what was the one that you wrote down? They're supplementary. I know that this part was confusing. When you see this box, what do you want to say? What's the other one that adds up to 90? Complementary, right? I saw some of you writing down complementary, probably because you saw that 90-degree angle, which could apply, but not to the two angles that we are talking about here. TCN and NCP, remember we said for supplementary to look for that straight line. That's 180 degrees. So together, this angle plus this angle will make 180 degrees. So adjacent and supplementary. Both of those relationships apply here. Nothing else. All right, flip over to the next page of your notes, the one that we did on Friday. And I want you to find one pair for each of these. So for each of these bullets, you're going to have a pair. So angle blank and angle blank. Okay. For each of these, you need to have a pair. You only have to give me one pair, although there are more than one. Okay, so first find me a pair of corresponding angles, alternate interior angles, and alternate exterior angles. And you guys typing up, there is no angle symbol on the keyboard, so you can just type, send the numbers. Okay. So you only need to write down one pair of each. There are more than one, but you only need one. Over to the next page. So were you not on Zoom on Friday? Okay. Send you. All right, I will have to share the video. I think I did maybe already put on Google Classroom. I'll double check, but you can watch that. You're gonna need to actually read that before you can do the Google recording. You won't understand it since you guys. So instead of doing that tonight, do the Friday night's homework, the practice game. So watch the video and do the practice game instead of doing it. Okay, jot down some pairs, see what you can come up with.
So that's a whole separate problem, right? So next one, if you're just finding two out of all those, what do you think? Also angle this and angle that are corresponding. Two angles.
Okay, so you just flip flop
From
these two,
not
interior versus exterior. Interior means they're and then like stuck between the parallel lines, exterior makes it outside. But other than that, you can just draw an arrow. But that reverse pairs. So try to correspond. First one. Try the corresponding ones again. Oh, geez. Okay, let's see. All right, there's too many to sort through over here. Still stay inside. 8 is good. So you want to crisscross over that pair of that middle line all the way up to the other side. So instead of 4, you want one that's back. Yes. All right, so corresponding, you have 4 choices for corresponding. Give me one, Molly. 1 and 5, that's one option for corresponding. MJ, another one was, sorry, say it again. 7 and 3, good. Another option for corresponding. Jack, you had a different one, I think. For the first one, what did you have? Oh, did you? Okay, sorry, I thought that was the one you had. 6 and 2 works, and 8 and 4. Okay, so all those work for corresponding. Remember, they're in the same spot in each group of 4. So like 1 is on the top left, 5 is on the top left of those 4. Or 4 and 8, they're both on the bottom right. Okay, so you want to be corresponding. Remember, Mrs. Maxa was talking about, I don't know if you guys heard this on the Zoom, but she was talking about like think of the 6th and 7th grade hallways. Like whose classroom in 6th grade hallway corresponds to my classroom in 7th grade hallway? Miss B's, right? They're in the same spot, but in different parallel hallways. Or like who corresponds to Mr. Shoemaker's in the other hallway? Miss Lucas, right? So that's what corresponding is. Same location, but different hallway. Okay, so you can think of the parallel lines as the hallways and the locations of the numbers as the classrooms. Alternate interior, we've got 5 and 4, 3 and 6, right? They crisscross over that transversal diagonal and stay inside. And then the other 2, we have 1 and 8 or 7 and 2. Okay. All right. One last question to review what we were doing last week. If the measure of angle 8, remember that M stands for measure, is 65 degrees, what is the measure of angle 1? So I'll give you a couple minutes to work on that. You guys can type your answers in the chat when you're ready. This is also from what we did on Friday. Good, 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 Isabella, Joey, Peyton, great, good job. Olivia, good. All right, guys. So if this one's 65, which other ones are also 65? Molly, go ahead. 2 and 5 and one more. 3. So those are all 65. So if we're trying to find this one right here, if we know 5 and or 3 are 65, we use 3. We know this is 65, and we know together angle 1 and angle 3 are going to make that straight 180 degree line. So 180 minus 65, which is 115 degrees. Okay. All right. So if you are having trouble with any of that, on Google Classroom from last week's assignments, I have added video recordings of the notes that we did in class. So if you missed any of them, or if you're having trouble with any of them, you can go back, rewatch it. It's just a YouTube video. It's not an ed puzzle. So you can like fast forward to the part that maybe you're confused on. So you don't have to like watch the entire 35-minute class because I recorded the whole period. But you can maybe just fast forward to like vertical angles if you're confused about vertical angles, or corresponding if you're confused about corresponding angles. So both of those videos are on the Google Classroom assignments from last week. So they're already on there, but if you can't find them, just email me and say, I'm having trouble with corresponding angles. Can you send me the video that would help with that? Okay, but they are on Google Classroom already attached to last week's assignments, but you can also email me and let me know and I can send them to you. It's literally just the same exact, it's a recording of what we talked about in class, but if you're still having trouble or you missed something and you need to go back, just let me know and I can send you the video. Okay. All right. So all that was a review of what we did last week. Now, what we're going to do now is a review of stuff we did a long time ago. And by that, I mean like November, which is pretty long ago. We are going to be reviewing how to solve equations for X. Do these look familiar, these equations? It's been a while, but tomorrow what we're going to do is we're actually going to combine what we've been doing with the angles together with solving equations. So we have to remember how to solve equations in order to, before we combine them. Okay, so on your scratch paper, start with this one. Write it down. I'll start with you guys. You guys remember our goal is to get the value of X or the letter X by itself. Does anyone think they remember how or what I would do first in this equation? Granted. Good. Subtract 5 from both sides. So we get 3x equals 15. So remember, we have 3x plus 5. To get rid of the plus 5, we always do the opposite, which is minus 5. So write that down. And then if 3 times some number x is equal to 15, we can probably tell in our head, we know what times 3 equals 15. But how did we show, like, what do we do next to show solving for x? What would be the last step we would do here? Molly? By what? Yeah, divide by 3 over here. Or what's 3 divided by 3? 1, right? And that leaves just the x by itself. And then 15 divided by 3 gives us our answer of 5. Seem familiar? Low rest, but looks familiar. Hopefully. Okay, I want you to try this one by yourself. It's the same idea as this one, just the x is on the other side. So same kind of steps, just the be careful because the x is on the other side. So try that one on your own. And your goal is to get that. See if you do get that. Okay. If you get that, great. Got it? Great. So we did that first one together. Let's try that. Let's see if you can remember that. Remember, whenever it's something like 2x, that's 2 times x. So the opposite of multiplication is division. Okay, it's really tempting to want to do -2, but we want to divide. Okay, so the first thing you're going to go ahead, you try it. I'll let you try it. I'll help you if you need help. Okay, questions on how to get x equals 8? Subtract 14. You get 16, and then divide by 2, you get 8. Okay. All right, let's try. I'm gonna have you guys try this one on your own. Similar, but adds an extra little step onto it. So go ahead and try that next one. Goal here is to get this. Okay, and I'll go over how to do it if you're set, but give it a shot. And figure out what to do when there's two different x's there, 6x minus 4x. Just don't forget to put, like, this side would be 8 equals, and then the x. So just don't forget the other side. But you have the right idea of putting them together. Yeah. Got it? Got it? Good. If you got this one, you can try this one, which is that. You're still working on that other one, take your time. X is 6x minus 4x. It would just be like 6 minus 4 is 2. Got it? Yeah, you're still going to subtract 12, so that gives you 2x equals 6. Yeah, and then divide. All right, how are you guys doing at home? Are you guys okay? Feel free to type in the chat like, I cannot get this one at all. And I will absolutely, I'm happy to go over them. Because I know you guys are doing yours on the scratch paper. Can't really. So since it's already a -5, you want to do that +5. So whatever is there, you just do the opposite. Which that's the first one we had like that actually. Because these ones were all plus. So yeah, for this one, you want to add 5 to both sides instead of subtract. So that's what 28 equals 7x. All right, finish up the one you're on. If you didn't start the second one yet, don't worry about it. We're gonna do a couple more too. But these are all very similar to each other. These next ones we're gonna do are a bit different, where there's an X on each side of the equal sign. Okay, so I'll do the first one with you, and then I'll have you guys try the second one. When we have an X on this side and an X on the other side, we have to get both X terms on the same sides. Anyone remember how we do that? These ones are always a little bit harder. How can I get the 5x from this side to this side? Add, subtract, multiply, or divide 5x. Just why not? Give it a shot. Yes, we're going to subtract it because we want the 5x over here to be completely gone. So that means if I subtract 5x from the right, 5x minus 5x is completely gone over there. And now over here we have 8x minus 5x, which is 3x. Once you get past that first step, the rest is the same. But that first step is a little trickier. That tends to kind of hold people up a little bit. So 3x plus 9 equals 12. The rest is the same. Minus 9 divided by 3. We just get x is 1. Okay, so let's see if you can try that last example on your own. See if you can get x equals 2. And we're gonna use these tomorrow these strategies tomorrow. So I want to refresh our memory today. We're going to use them tomorrow too in class. See if you can get x equals 2. Well, first thing I like to do is get both x's on the same side.
When you do the opposite. If you do the right, you do the left, whatever is the left is the right.
Which is fine. Maybe my answer. Am I wrong? Oh, this is a minus 2. That's fine. You had a plus. You had a plus 2. That's a minus 2 plus 2. There. All right, I'll write up here how that makes it a little harder with all those minuses. Oh, I wrote it. That's a -6, -6 equals 2. Negative. All right. So we'll review more tomorrow, like when we're doing the notes, we'll be doing more practice with solving. So if you're still like not super comfortable, you're not gonna have to do any of this on your homework tonight. So don't worry about that. We're gonna have some more examples tomorrow. You'll get a chance to practice some more before you have to do this on your own, okay? So your homework tonight, which you guys, what do we have? Like 6 minutes. You can get started if you want to. It's a Google form that is, you can use your notes on. It's a review of what we did last Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Okay, you can use your notes. You can use a calculator. You can do it twice, right? Like how we talked about before, you can do it once. And if you haven't thought of this yet, this is a really good idea. Some people like to do this. Once you do it once and it shows you which ones you got wrong, keep that page up to when you go to do it the second time so that you can see, okay, well, I got this one right, so I can mark that same answer, but I got this one wrong, so I only have to try, like redo the ones you got wrong, rather than redoing them all and just, not knowing which ones were right or which ones were wrong. So keep your original results up, open a new tab, and put them side by side so that you don't get one that you got right the first time, wrong the second time. Does that make sense? So that'll help if you leave the original answers open and then open the second one in a new tab. You don't have to do it twice, but if you want to do it twice, that's a good idea to make sure. I do just want to say, be careful. There are some where you have to pick 2 answers, and there's also some that have 2 correct answers that you don't have to pick both. So read the directions carefully. If it says pick 2, make sure you pick 2. If it says you only need to pick 1, then you only need to pick 1. Okay, so just be careful with those ones. Take your time reading the directions so that you don't mix up that part. Okay. Yeah, so any questions on that? Guys at home, any questions on what you need to do for homework, the Google form? No? All right, you're free to go. Stick around if you have a question. I'm gonna. Think it is. Yeah. What? You guys, well, you, YA people, I won't see you in person until next Wednesday. Two quad meetings. The day you come back is the quad. So it's gonna show up, you see this, that's from Friday. So if you click on Fridays, I put the video there. It's just a YouTube video. Not an editable one. So do that tonight. And then you can do Google Form, like. Bye, you too. Thank you. Yeah, make sure you understand that assignment first. Ask tomorrow. I know you won't be here in person on Zoom. You can email me if you have questions about it. Send me a picture of the practice being with it done. Okay. And then once you feel comfortable, then you can do it. This is all, guys, now on the 4th 9 weeks going forward. Still have time to do test corrections till Wednesday. If anyone didn't get you still have time. So just keep that in mind. Okay. How many times does Spencer think he can do this? What? In the directions, it says twice. 4 times. What? Yeah, right, exactly. I'm not giving him 19. Nice try. He did this last time too, and I was nice. I was like, okay, I'll take your best one. He did it 4 times. What? Do it twice. I mean, you can do it more if you really want to like try to get it at your score. Not big. Oh, let's see. He added a private. Could I use my 4th response for the form? My 1st and 2nd glitched out. Lies. Now let me answer some of the questions on the Google form. Lies. You guys think I'm dumb? No. I know how these things work. I know when you're lying. Therefore, the 3rd and 4th responses will represent my 1st and 2nd responses. Yeah, right. It didn't let me answer them, but somehow every question has an answer.
Wait,
You guys, I'm not stupid. Nice try.
he's just telling me what to do. It's not
Yeah.
like- it's not
No,
like-
it was a question. Like, could you use the 3rd and 4th as the 1st and 2nd? It was a question. It didn't say like you will do the. But like, okay, first of all, it doesn't let you submit without answering every question. I do it like that on purpose. So you're just straight up lying. Guys, I'm not dumb. Goodness sakes. I know how all of the excuses work.